I was able to get my hands on the 3 new fragrances from the house of Parfums de Marly, and they're all the extracts. So we are going to be touching on Valero, the blue juice. Then we are going to be talking about Carios. This is the red pinkish juice. Then last but not least, we are going to touch on Eragon. This is the yellow juice. I don't think these scents are out yet here in the US. I think they're available in Europe regarding retail. I know they're definitely not available at discounters at all, but I was lucky to get my 5 ml samples of each in, and I got them last week. So this is going to be like a glorified first impression / review over these 3 fragrances. Let's talk about them. So before we hop into talking about Valero, the notes and some accords my nose picks up, these are going to be some pricey fragrances. So I am going to be grading these really harsh when I am doing this review, because these fragrances are in between $500 to $600 USD from what I've heard from the reports I've seen. I know they have it on their European website, so you can go check that out and kind of convert it and see what it might be around, but I know it's between $500 to $600. So I am going to be pretty harsh with these, because once you reach a certain price point, there's not really any leniency when it comes to that, especially because of the price you're charging for the product. So you better be getting the quality for the product, because a lot of fragrances I feel like shouldn't even be charged over $200, for example. I don't feel like there's a lot out there that should be over that price point when we're talking about USD. Maybe $250. But when it's pushing 300, it's very iffy for me in regards to that. So let's hop more into the review of Valero. So with this scent, what you're going to get, this is going to be a blue bubblegummy sweet type of scent. You're going to have notes of, in the opening, it's supposedly got juniper and citron. In that mid, you got things such as bourbon geranium, you got some cypress, and then you got some lavender, which I get the whole heaps of lavender when it comes to that mid. And then in that dry down, you're going to get some sandalwood, and you're going to get some patchouli. And I will say, kind of a little spoiler alert, I feel like all 3 of these fragrances, all 3 of these extracts do dry down the same. They do have a lot of similar notes, as you'll come to find out with this review here. But this is the one, to me, that was the most boring. I feel like if you told me the name of it and didn't really say much more about it, like you just gave it to me on a tester strip or something, let me smell it, I would probably think this could be something that could fit into that bubblegummy sweet Invictus line. So not the Invictus Victory, but the Paco Rabanne, the OG Invictus, and they kind of made it their blue style scent, but less kind of focused, or I guess more blue focused in a sense. That's why I feel like this fragrance takes me. Unfortunately, I only get a little bit of that citron. I don't get much. I get a little bit more of the juniper in the opening. Kind of gives it like a refreshing feel as well, which is nice. And then it's a whole heap of lavender. I get a big blast of that lavender, maybe a little cypress to take the edge off. Not much, like a little woody undertones from that cypress, I would say. But overall, when it comes to that dry down, you do get something sweet and woody as well when it comes to that dry down. But this is fresh. You can wear this anywhere. It's going to be something that's very mass appealing, but I will say you gotta like your bubblegummy-esque type scents. I did get some type of, when I sprayed this on, and I still get it when I'm spraying this sample on, I do get some type of like mint feel, refreshing feel. It might come from that juniper again, but I do get like some minty. Sometimes this can kind of come off as synthetic to me when I spray it on in that opening. I would say the first 5 or 10 minutes, I get that minty kind of fresh opening, but there's not mint listed in the official note breakdown. But overall, this is going to be, out of all 3, I would say the most generic one. And for me, on my rating scale, if I had to look at versatility, longevity, projection, and I will say on the projection and the longevity, these extracts did a fantastic job. A few of them kind of differed, but I will say when I'm talking about this, I'll talk about off skin. I got about 10 to 12 hours on longevity off the skin here. On that projection, I got a solid 4 to 5 hours, I would say, off this blue scent. but it's not a beast mode blue scent in a sense that everybody around you is going to smell it. I'd probably say within the first 2 hours is about 3 feet, and then after that is about 2 feet to that 4th to 5th hour, and then after that you're getting about 1.5 to 1 foot, kind of closer type of scent. But overall, the blend is good. The materials are good from the House of Parfums de Marly. You know, again, I've commented on this in previous videos. When it comes to House of Parfums de Marly, they're not going to go out of left field and give you something really creative and outrageous. It's usually stuff that's going to be mass appealing and wearable and meant to go out there and do your thing and not really offend too many people when it comes to their scents. They're kind of, again, mass appealing scents. And this is going to be something that you could probably find bits and pieces of other blue fragrances, throw it together, and you get this. So overall for me, if we're factoring in everything, the price is the biggest thing for me. The blend is excellent. They do have nice quality ingredients when it comes to this. I will say overall, other than one of the scents I'll comment on a little bit later. But basically overall, for me, I'm going to give this one about a I'll give it a 6.8 out of 10 just because of that price. It's a, I would say, kind of generic blue scent. You could probably find bits and pieces of stuff and go in the department stores and just go and kind of mix and match and probably layer it yourself and get it cheaper than to find this overall. I'm not saying you can create a one-to-one, but this, I feel like, is a generic blue fragrance overall. It doesn't really reinvent the wheel. But if you're looking for something that's got that bubblegummy sweetness with a freshness and a little citrus kick to it, and then dries down into something woody sweet, and you got the dough, or you just, you want something like that, that's a blue scent that appeals to you, get a sample of it once it comes around, once it's more readily available. But overall, Valero, I'd probably say for me, my least favorite of the three, possibly. The next one up is, they go back and forth. I would say this one and the next one up go back and forth, but that is Valero for me. I'll give it a 6.8. Number 2 on the list, we are talking about Carios, the red pinkish juice. Now, when it comes to this one's going to be a little sweet, a little floral. I would say out of all 3 of these, this one to me leans a little bit more feminine than the other. Actually, I would say this one is unisex leaning feminine. I would say the last one that I'm going to be touching on, which is Eragon, that one is unisex leaning feminine, and I would say Valero is unisex leaning masculine, more masculine. I would feel like, be honest, the Valero, out of all 3 scents, I could really put a gender on it, but a lot of fragrances aren't gender specific. Anybody can wear fragrances and it smells different off your skin chemistry, but not the point. Valero is the most masculine of them, and I would say Eragon and Carios are the 2 more unisex leaning feminine fragrances. But with Carios, when you're coming down the notes, you're going to get something, you're going to get some saffron, you're going to get some red mandarin orange, you are going to get some pink pepper in that opening as well. In the mid, there's going to be things such as geranium again, you're going to be getting that, but this isn't a bourbon geranium, just a regular geranium. And then also you got some thyme, some red thyme to be exact. And then after that, in that base, you're going to get some cedarwood, you're going to get some roasted tonka bean, and you are going to get some vetiver. Overall, I do not pick up the vetiver in the scent. It's more of that roasted tonka bean for me, and that cedarwood overall in this base of the scent. But again, it dries down similar to Valero. You are getting some sweetness, but I get a little powderiness when it comes to this one as well. But overall, this is going to be your floral, sweet type of fragrance. I don't know what to make of it. Sometimes I really like it. Sometimes I really don't like it. Overall, it's kind of got like a little Baccarat Rouge, I would say, 540 kind of twist going on with it. I don't really know. This is a very fresh fragrance. I will say the Valero and this one are pretty fresh. They're pretty kind of, I would say, uplifting in that fresh sense. Overall, they're not something that's going to be deep, dark, and heavy when it comes to these 2 scents here. Overall, Carios, I will say, gives me a kind of floral tinge, and then you took little bits and pieces of Baccarat Rouge, threw it in there a little bit, and this is what you got. It's kind of Parfums de Marly's take on that DNA a little bit. I do get that geranium front and center. I feel like that's the floral note that's being used here. I do get a lot of thyme as well that gives it a little kind of earthiness, gives it a little feel off that. And this does have black pepper and pink pepper, so you are going to get a little bit of warm spice and fresh spice with this too. And I get some soft spice. I get all three spices. It's kind of got a little warmth when it dries down, kind of going into that mid with that black pepper. But overall, this is going to keep on that fresh side of things. And I will say, I kind of feel like this is, it kind of puts a picture into my head. I look at flowers and they're kind of wet from a rain shower. And then overall, you got the wind blowing and the sun is kind of over your head. The storm is over. And you see like a rainbow as well. That's what this one kind of puts my mindset into. Like a flower garden, it's kind of fresh, you're getting the wind blowing, you kind of got the sun behind you and you got a rainbow. That's what Carios does for me. I'm 50-50 about it. I like it a little bit more than Valero because it does do some differences. It does tweak it a little bit different. It does remind me of a fragrance, of course, like I mentioned before. But overall, it is something, again, mass appealing. You're going to like to wear it overall. If you like that Baccarat Rouge 540 DNA, you might lean towards this one out of all three of them. Overall, it's not bad. I'll probably give it, considering everything, and I will say on this one, 10 to 12 hours on that longevity again. On projection, I got about 4 hours on that projection on this one, and this isn't a big projector for me, I would say, in the sense. It's kind of more rain back. I got about 3 feet within the first 3 hours, and then maybe that 4th hour I was going 2 feet, and then it was drying down into kind of the longevity standpoint, which is 1 to 2 feet for me of this scent overall. But like I mentioned before, it does dry down into a sweet, woody type of scent. You do get some powder from this, from that roasted tonka bean as well. You gotta like a little powder in your scents overall. But Carios, I'm gonna give it about a 7.0 out of 10. I feel like it's solid. Again, the blend is very well. This isn't something that's gonna be synthetic. This isn't going to be something that is going to be rough around the edges. This is smooth overall. This is nice perfumery. But for me, it just doesn't do enough to warrant that $500 to $600 price tag. And as of now, for the 2 cents I've went over, I'm just glad I got my 5 ml sample, because when I want to spray it on, I can use that. So that is Carios right there. If you're looking for a fresh, floral, kind of warm, fresh, and soft spice type of scent, check this one out with a little Baccarat Rouge kind of sprinkled in there. This will be the scent for you. Last but not least, Eragon, the yellow juice. So this one here, I will say when I first got it in, I've been wearing these separately and kind of in combination. Like today, for prime example, I got all three. I got one sprayed on the front of the hand here, one sprayed on the front of the hand here, and then one on the arm. But when I wore these all separately too, just to kind of compare and contrast per se. But going back to this one, the reason why I bring that up, because when I first sprayed it on, this smelled like straight alcohol. It's kind of like when you spray some fragrances and they haven't, I guess, macerated. That's what this one did for me there, and I did not like it at all. To be honest, it smelled like alcohol's perfume, and then it kind of toned back a little bit, but I was kind of getting like a fresh kind of whiskey smell when it came to this. It was kind of weird. It was kind of like you just poured some whiskey into a glass, and that's what you would smell, not mixed it with anything overall. That's what I got with this. So I got alcohol's perfume, the first or alcohol, like when they mix the blend, like when it hasn't sit, you kind of get that first kind of spray of the blend that they were using overall. If you all are familiar with clones, I know some clones do that as well. When you spray it on, you get that alcohol's, or the perfumer's alcohol that they use to mix with the scent. Sorry, I had those words twisted. But that's what I got with this in the first 10 to 15 minutes. I was like, oh my gosh, this was bad the first time. But after I let this sit, I wore it later. I wore it, I think, on Monday, and then I wore it on Friday, I want to say, of last week when I'm filming this. And that went away, of course. But this one is, for me, a 50-50 again. Sometimes I really enjoy it. Sometimes I get that straight alcohol, like drinking a whiskey from a glass. Like there's nothing to it. It just literally smells like that whiskey. It's kind of weird. But I will say on that Friday, it did develop more And then I gave it another wear. I think it was Sunday, yeah, yesterday. I gave it another wear, and I was like, okay, I am getting that whiskey again. But some notes in this scent, what you're going to get, you could get things in the base. I know there's liver, there's also vanilla, and then also patchouli as well with this scent. You are going to get some tonka bean in it as well. With that being said, in the opening, this does have, or in the mid, let me start out with that mid. It does have some cinnamon, it does have some cypriol, and then this does, in that opening, you are going to get some mandarin orange as well with the scent here. I don't get too much of that orange as well in the opening. There are other things in the opening, of course, but I don't get much of that. I will say you do get a little spiciness when it comes to this, and when I'm talking about this scent, this kind of feels like a elevated take on the other Parfums de Marly fragrance, Ojan. This kind of smells like Ojan a little bit, like you took a little sprinkle of Ojan and you put it in here. I don't get much leather tones with this scent. I do get vanilla in that dry down, like I mentioned. All of them kind of dry down similarly. You do get vanilla in that base here, and it does dry down to have that. And I don't get much of that patchouli. I get kind of, again, a sweet kind of woody dry down with this one here. But when it comes to this, it's just interesting to me. I do get, from time to time, I get a little, not much, little sprinkle of a honey facet. But I got that on my second wearing of this, and I wearing it today. I'm getting a little bit as well. But I kind of feel like this, again, is a fresher take on if you wanted to freshen up Wajan, the other fragrance from Parfums de Marly, what I was mentioning. I kind of feel like this would be the version of it, but I like Wajan a lot better than this. This was kind of disappointing to me. All three of these fragrances, as you can tell, kind of been a disappointment. I'm a big Parfums de Marly fragrance person. I really like the house, but it seems like, especially for these, I'm really putting that price point pretty high. They just are a big letdown for me. They are a big letdown. The quality is there. The blend is there. What they used in these materials is excellent. Again, longevity on this one, I'd probably say out of the three, lasted the longest for me. I got about, I would say, maybe 10 to 13 hours of this scent here. The projection was very nice for this one. I got a solid 5 hours with this one overall. But this is like if you took that kind of Wajan DNA and you wanted it to be fresh, less honey focused, and maybe a little bit more, I guess you could say a little bit more sweet in the vanilla department with a little leather coming out. And the cinnamon kind of gives it a little spiciness overall. But I will say sometimes, I don't know if it's because of the tonka bean, this did give me grandma vibes. I did get big grandma vibes, kind of really powdery, be like, hey, this would be something my grandma would wear. So you got to be aware of that when you're talking about this scent here. Overall, I got mixed feelings with it. Again, like I mentioned, sometimes I really like it, sometimes I really don't. But I will say, to give you all a kind of understanding about these scents, that how I feel about it, I'm not excited to wear them. I'm not excited to pull them out. Like, after my testing, I don't know how many more times I'm going to be wearing my sample. So I don't even know at a discounter if I would really want to get any free of these scents. I've liked kind of the mainstream Parfums de Marly releases. These extracts, I would say, are okay. Okay, overall, I would say they're not great. The blend is great. I can understand why you're charging this much money, but for me personally, I would not spend that much money over these three. They're nothing that is blowing my mind. They're nothing that I really enjoy smelling over and over again. I will say overall, they are okay, but factoring in that price point, that is a big factor for me overall. And like I mentioned, they do project, they do perform, they do smell solid, they do smell decent. But there's so many things out in the market that you could get that are cheaper than this at retail that I feel like could do the job just like these are doing. And I know there's a lot of perfumery, excuse me, I can't speak today, and a lot of fragrances out there today, but you just got to be wise with it. Make sure to get a sample if you are interested in these. If these sound good to you, check it out. Go to where you can get. And I don't know if you all seen the bottles too. The bottles look a little bit weird overall, I would say. I don't know. I like the older bottle style better than this new bottle style, but overall, that is my review of the free fragrances here, the free extracts from the House of Parfums de Marly. Overall, I'd give this one, I know I didn't give it an official review, I'd give it the same as Carios. I'll give it about a 7.0 out of 10. And yeah, let me know what everybody thinks of these free scents. If you've tried them out yet, if you've sampled them, if you've been able to go to a department store. Like I mentioned, I don't know when this video comes out, they might be more readily available, but I know right now when I'm filming this, can't really pick them up anywhere. You can't really find a sample of them anywhere. So I'll be interested to hear everybody's take in the comments down below. Now, don't leave just yet, because my fitness playlist, or excuse me, my fragrance playlist will be at the end of this video, where you can check out things such as more reviews, first impressions, and then also too, there will be fragrance challenges, and then there will be a video that the YouTube algorithm thinks you need to watch. Check that one out. I appreciate everybody sticking around and spending a little bit of time of their day learning more about the Parfums de Marly extracts. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next video.